What up gamers, I'm Sir Mav and welcome back to another weekly update of Anthem, where I present to you the latest info discussed on Twitter and other sources from the dev team. So this week we learned quite a bit about the melee builds coming into Anthem, some support info, and some new details coming in November thanks to Ben Irving. The blog post on EA also changed up a bit, so I've included that info at the end of this video as well. This might be a little bit long, so sit back, relax, and check out everything you might have missed on Anthem this past week. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Let's dive in. So the first new info we have is around our Javelin classes, or along the basis of their roles to be more specific. There are technically classes in Anthem which would be your Ranger or Storm, but you can manipulate your Javelin's role or playstyle through your gear and weapons. Currently there are 2 weapon slots for each Javelin and 3 dedicated gear slots. So for instance, if you were a Colossus, the flamethrower and railgun are equipped within the same slot, so you wouldn't be able to use them together. Same goes for the multi-mortar or flame mortar for the Colossus. A good example of this was displayed within the very first Ask Me Almost Anything About Anthem stream back after E3. I placed the link in the description box below if you still haven't seen that video yet. Thanks to our good buddy William over at Your Anthem, we now know that there is no primary or secondary slots in Anthem, meaning you can currently place any weapon type into any weapon slot. There are no restrictions besides which weapon type a Javelin is allowed to use. Next up, Mark was gracious enough to answer my question and exclaimed that gear will start acquiring perks at the uncommon tier level. He didn't clarify whether or not there would be perks where you would have to have 2 or more gear pieces equipped, but we can assume the higher the tier level of the gear, the more perks and power we will gain for our Javelins. Mark also stated this week that technically the ultimate and melee abilities are gear slots too, but again, they will not be changeable at launch. This is actually interesting that he clarified this, as it definitely entails that within the future expansions of the game, the dev team may have prepared us for future builds where we could change out the ultimate melee abilities for our Javelins. I'm sure that's way down the line though, but it's nice to see that they're preparing for the future ahead. Michael Gamble confirmed in a tweet this week that there will be replayable content within the demo of Anthem. Good to hear that it's not just one and done type of demo. How much we get to explore and test out, we'll just have to wait and see. And again, this week, good old Ben Irving coming in hot this week with more behind the scenes shots of the Edmonton office hard at work on Anthem. Michael also joined in on the office pics, showcasing this image of level 1 in Anthem. After some clarification, he stated that this image is showcasing a level of something a Shaper artifact created, if you were curious of why it looks really destructive in the background. After the community saw that muster point was removed from the Ranger Javelin blog, there came some questions about support abilities and whether or not there will be more team-based abilities such as boosts, buffs, healing, protection, etc., in which Mark simply answered yes. So we don't know all of what support abilities will come about in Anthem, but it seems our Javelins can play a support role in some way or another out in the world. Muster point, which was a rally point type ability, was removed from the EA blog, but it could be that they are changing the name, even the description of this ability. We'll know more once the blog gets updated again with the new info. A very controversial topic came up this past week when Mark asked the community how they felt about boosts. And we're talking boosts in regards to XP, reputation, loot, etc. later on down the road after the game has kind of matured after launch. Mark did clarify that there are no plans for this currently in the roadmap for Anthem, but he wanted to get some feedback from the community. Overall, the consensus was a pretty strong no all around, but that's not to say that this couldn't come down the road after the game has been out for maybe a year or 2. So here's my 2 cents on this. I believe if the BioWare team creates a generally engaging experience, this won't be needed. If you have a compelling story and gameplay, players will want to play through every aspect of your game without rushing through the story. But like I said, that's not to say that we won't see this later down the road as Anthem acquires a year or 2 of expansions, but this would also depend on the max level placed upon our Javelins and pilot and how long it actually takes to get to Elder Game. It's also dependent on how compelling the Elder Game is in Anthem, because of course the dev team will still want to maintain a healthy player base within the game and bring on new players as the story expands. But again, we'll still need to see the entire game before we can really make a compelling argument on whether or not this should be something later on down the road for new players joining in. But what are your thoughts on this? Would love to see some discussion on this in the comment section down below. Ben Irving also gave us some more info on the Interceptor, stating that because of this great community creating conversation around melee builds, there is now some gear for the Interceptor that will allow for a melee build, or plural builds, within the game. meaning we could have multiple possibilities within the spectrum. Ben also mentioned on Reddit posts from Your Anthem that we will likely see more info on this come November 1st. This is very likely to be a stream, as most of the streams they've showcased have come up on a Thursday or Friday, so more to come on this in a week or two from now. Our good buddy Alem joined in on the Twitter fun this week, asking if combos are based on interactions of elements between them or if it was just a gear thing. Ben came to state that this is mainly a gear thing. Some things prime a target while others can detonate a target. A good example of this was in the Stronghold gameplay, where the Ranger threw down its frost grenade on some scars and the Colossus used the multi-mortar on the same scars to initiate the combo. This continued on with a clarifying tweet from Just Laura asking if it meant guns too. Mark then replied with a zipped up mouth emoji. He's apparently not saying anything more on the matter, so likely this could work with guns as well, but maybe only higher tier level weapons such as legendary that may have additional perks to them. So you can take cover in Anthem per se, but Mark stated this is not a cover-based shooter. Likely he's referring to your ability to hide behind a rock or some other obstacle while getting shot at, but it's not like the Division where you'll literally tap a button to take cover on the object itself. We found out earlier that there's a third gear slot for our Javelins. Mark stated this week that this third gear slot is mainly for squad support, and that we'll have multiple support abilities to choose from. Also this past week, Michael created some commotion with an awesome screenshot of the revive screen we will see when you're downed in Anthem. In this shot, you'll see two Rangers down, apparently one is Mike and the other is Mark, where Mark clarified that all he saw was the Titan's foot coming up upon him, and the Interceptor coming in for the rescue. I guess I should clarify that I stated revive screen, but the Ranger Javelin is actually getting repaired by the Interceptor in this screenshot, or at least about to. Also, there is no need for repair kits, as every Javelin can repair one another at the get-go. This past week, we also learned that I was wrong in last week's video where I stated equipping two of the same weapon type could deplete your ammo reserves. Well, currently you can equip two weapons of the same weapon type and each will have their own ammo reserve. What does this exactly mean? Well, for example, if you have two SMGs equipped and you use all the ammo up in one, you'll be able to switch to the other SMG in your weapon slot and once again have full ammo to use. If you were worried about having to start a stronghold over from the beginning if your entire team died, well, Mark stated that there will be checkpoints within strongholds, missions, and other content. Also, if for some reason you disconnect from the game while playing, for example a stronghold, you'll have a window of time where you can reconnect back into the game and get back in with your team. And finally, last on the tweet list, Mark stated that there are currently no plans for friendly fire within Anthem, even some of the more challenging content. Which I can agree with, as friendly fire, I believe, has no place within a PvE setting, but of course this is just my opinion. What do you think about this? Let me know down in the comments section below. So as I stated in the beginning of this video, there have been some changes to the EA blogs regarding the Javelins of Anthem. The key additions to this though were regarding the Storm and Interceptor Javelins. But for all Javelins, it seems we'll soon learn about what our Javelins gear will be and also the ultimate ability that we'll be able to use in more detail very soon. Note that Anthem is still in development by the dev team, so some of the names and features I'm about to cover are prone to change before launch, but here's some of the new info we learned. So on the Storm Javelins page, it states that the Storm Javelin's melee ability is called the Fiery Strike. If you didn't already know, the Storm utilizes these seals on its arms to boost its latent kinesis powers. Through these seals, the Storm can perform a melee attack that delivers an explosive flash that deals damage and knocks back enemies that have come too close to it. This allows the Storm to reposition to a safe distance and commence attacking its targets. There's no name for the Interceptor's melee ability yet, but as stated in the Ask Me Almost Anything About Anthem stream some time ago with Mark and John, they teased that the Interceptor is having swords for a melee weapon. Well, we now know that this Javelin will have double-bladed daggers for its melee attack. The melee attack will deliver a multi-hit flurry of slashes that deal damage in a chain of powerful attacks that can be continued indefinitely. This continued indefinitely statement makes me think that this is what the devs meant about the Interceptor being great for crowd control. It seems as long as the Interceptor has an enemy to strike, then you can continue to use this melee ability. But of course, we won't know anything about the cooldowns of these abilities till we see some gameplay. It could even be that the Interceptor's melee ability auto-cools with every hit it gets on a target. Again, until we see some gameplay of the Interceptor itself in front of us, we won't know for sure exactly how these mechanics will work. And there you have it, gamers. Thanks for tuning in to this week's update for Anthem. As usual, I've posted the link on the Reddit post in the description box down below in case you want to view the links for yourself. Keep it locked here at iGame for all the latest updates on Anthem before and after launch. Also, this is the last week for the Red Dead Redemption 2 giveaway on the channel, so get your submission in before it's too late. Click the card above or the link down in the description box below to get on all the details. Good luck to all of you that have already entered into the contest. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like and tap fire the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring that bell for future updates on Anthem. Talk to you next time, gamers. This is Sir Mav, signing off.